Welcome to the COG Arcade, episode 10, where we're going to talk about some Xbox One. Yes, One. Have you tried?
I had one. I had an Xbox One. It was like in 2001. Anyways, Won. Isn't Won like a form of currency in Korea or somewhere? The Won?
The Won?
I have no idea. You got me.
If you can't tell already, with us today is Kirby, Shawn, and Jen, the usual three along with myself, John. Jen and both Shawn have been pretty busy people lately.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Across the Ocean with Jen. Yeah. What'd you do over there, Jen? Come on, talk to us.
Well, we had the opportunity to go visit an indie developer over in Budapest, Hungary, of all places.
That's awesome.
That's my phone ringing.
Okay. Anyhow, I had the opportunity to fly over to Budapest, Hungary to visit COG Games, who, unfortunately, I had never heard of prior to this visit, but apparently they've done some games in the past. If you know of RTS games, I guess they did King Arthur. Anybody familiar with those games?
I've heard of them, but I'm not a PC gamer, so...
If you're familiar with RTS games, you might have heard of them. They did the King Arthur games. They've done this wonderful little niche action RPG called, let me get this right, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing.
Yay! Woo!
Is it Hugh Jackman?
No, thank God. They based it on Bram Stoker's Dracula. Very loosely based it on Bram Stoker's Dracula. So it's not actually the Van Helsing that everybody knows of, but it's his offspring. It's his son who's kind of stepped into that role.
Oh, there's some animes that have done that as well.
What's that? Taken on the son of Van Helsing rather than... It's funny you should say that because the original character model of Van Helsing was kind of an anime character. So I never thought to ask them, it didn't come up, but I wonder if they base it off of some of this anime that's been out there.
Yeah, I believe it's on Netflix. So,
is it? I'll have to take a look at that. But the community didn't like this particular character model. They thought he was too young, too anime looking, so they switched him to look a little more mature, more vampire hunter-like. So yeah, really, if you like games like Diablo, actually, I only played a little bit of Diablo 3, but from what I've played of Van Helsing, I think it blows it out of the water. Fantastic game. Excellent visuals, just an amazing soundtrack. The violin, it's very that Eastern European folklore kind of feel. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
You know, though, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't bring me back a bag of wasabi lays.
Oh, that was so good.
You didn't bring me a bag. Like, what were you thinking?
I didn't bring one back for Hannah either.
No. Hannah didn't has nothing to do with this trip.
They were so good. So good.
I'm just looking
Rub it in. Rub it deeper.
And I have to say, in Hungary, they really like salami and meat every meal. And I got soup, and they used it as a garnish.
As a what?
Like a garnish. They had salami in the soup.
That's awesome. I'm going to Hungary.
I would eat that soup.
It was good, but back to the game, maybe?
Yeah. Right.
No, I just wanted, and Neocore, they're an indie developer, and they really should be commended on such a great job that they did with this game. As of today, I believe it's one of the number one sellers on Steam.
Well, it's cheap, right? It's not overly expensive, too. It's like a really good price.
$14.99, and you get at least 10 hours of gameplay. Again, the visuals are absolutely spectacular. It really, when I was playing it really felt like I was playing a full retail title.
That's interesting. Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's one of those things is thank goodness the game was good.
Well, yeah, you were a little worried. You're like, I'm going to Hungary for what?
Yeah, nobody had heard about this, but I think this is something that should be on everyone's radar, and it will be coming to Xbox Live later on this year.
Oh, really?
Well,
that's good to know.
I wonder if there's going to be a launch event in New Westminster.
Goodness. I'm going to pass on that.
Have you ever been to New West? It's a lovely place.
True that. So, Shawn, what about your little jaunt down the coast, down the west coast? What did you have on your tap there? I see we did some article posting today for you.
We did. It was a short trip. I mean, it was only down there for a day and a half, not even quite 2 days, but a lot to fit in. Bethesda brought us down there to take a look at 3 of their games. It was we looked at The Evil Within, Wolfenstein: The New Order, and Elder Scrolls Online as well. I got to manage some hands-on with both Wolfenstein and Elder Scrolls, and basically what I saw from all 3 was really, really cool. So definitely kind of hyped me up to see what else that they're going to come up with at E3. It was fantastic. Anybody who wants to, they can obviously check the articles out up on the site. I'm biased, but I think they're awesome.
But the big question is did you do any surfing?
I did, and it was all dumb luck. I was kind of out on the beach really early in the morning on the day that I had to leave, and started chatting up a couple guys who were heading out to the beach with their boards about surfing down there versus surfing here at home in Tofino. And one guy offered up his board, and off I went surfing for about a half hour. Wasn't too long, but it was pretty nice. You know, can't complain about free surfing.
Nice.
I can complain because I'm not a surfer.
I don't know if I'm a surfer because I kind of suck. I'll admit it. I didn't really get up too much. I spent more time in the water than on the board, but at least I tried.
Excellent. Well, John, you and I have had a really uneventful couple of weeks, so I don't really think we can talk about any trips or anything.
I've been working on a review for a game called Castle Storm. At first I'm like, I haven't heard of this game. Why is Kirby giving me this one? And I noticed that it was done by Zen Studios.
Yep.
And I pretty much review
the pinball effects guys.
Yeah, the pinball effects guys. And it's actually pretty cool. It's kind of like 2D tower defense game. So you're like, if you're playing tower defense games, they go through a path, you set up your towers and you fight them. Well, these guys, it's kind of like, Super Mario meets tower defense. You're going along trying to take down the enemy towers, and there's other little mini missions, but basically you're using a ballista to take down. You're sending troops. You can use magic. You have your hero that you move along with your hero to go take out other troops on a temporary basis. There's a timer on it. It's kind of neat if you're into tower defense type games.
Excellent.
Sounds
like it's maybe a surprise XBLA title.
Yeah, there hasn't been a good one in a while. I've been going back and playing some old stuff like Dust, and I actually moved the Wii U into the living room. It's been in my son's room, so I can actually beat Mario, because I'm not playing anything right now myself. I'm just in that holding mode of, okay, when are they going to announce the prices and pre-order the next generation consoles?
Soon, I hope. Soon.
What a perfect segue.
Yeah, yes. Well done.
So I'm assuming we all know there was a little reveal.
What are we talking about right now?
And I'm actually glad we didn't get right on it right away, because I'm not going to take much time here. I'll let everybody definitely throw their 2 cents in, but I was so perturbed by the reveal, and I'm not going to lie, I had a gamut of emotions. From anger to frustration to utter disappointment, but I had to let things sink in, and as we talk about it, I'll let you know where I'm at now. I'm actually kind of glad we've waited till now to talk about it.
Kirby's had time to calm down.
I'll admit, guys, I'm still I'm still getting bits and pieces of news, because when the reveal came out, I was at dinner in Budapest.
La-dee-da.
No, but you know what the funny thing is none of the European journalists had any interest in it, which says a lot about Xbox, the power Microsoft has in the European countries.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I thought it had a pretty decent hold over there. Obviously they've always had trouble breaking into Japan, but the European market was actually pretty decent for Microsoft, but maybe not.
It was decent. I know the numbers, they've realized that it's still an important battleground for them.
I know they're really strong in the UK.
And Mexico.
So anyway, I'm interested to hear, I've been hearing, again, bits and pieces. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it, and I really want to see what happens at E3.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying too, there was a lot of, immediately the internet went absolutely haywire about, they're only telling us what they can do on TV and this, that, and the other thing, and doesn't play games basically. And we all know that that's a load of crap. They're just going to play shitloads of games, right? There's going to be plenty of them out there. I think they basically threw it out there and said, look, here's what we've got. Here's a piece of hardware. They showed us something, which was nice, and said, this is what it can do for your living room. And then, we're a couple weeks away from E3. So when E3 comes along, they're going to blow our minds with something else. They're waiting. It's all a plan, my guess.
Let's start with, I guess, the basics of it. Let's start with the visual, how it looks, for example. What did you think of that? Personally, I think it looks
VCR.
like a cable box, right?
Yeah.
Like a set-top box, I guess.
I don't understand how people are saying it's sleek. I'm sorry, that thing's like the front end of a semi.
I don't, you know what though? You gotta look at kind of, God, I'm gonna sound like a fashionista or something here, but you look at what's popular and clean lines, and, even a new house you see being built in a lot of trendy areas are very clean lines and square and boxy. So I think they're just going with what's a trend right now.
But in a day and an age where everything's getting smaller, they've gotten bigger.
You know what though? What's been our basis for comparison to actually it looks big to us on a screen, but what did they put up next to it for us to kind of get a bearing and go, oh, I see how big it is. And we're all just kind of guessing. It looks kind of big, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not quite as big as we think.
I'm predicting it's 10 to 25% bigger than the Xbox 360 Slim.
It doesn't look that much different from the Slim to me if you really look at it. It kind of has those little grooves on the side.
Yeah, I guess.
It looks similar, just bigger.
That Kinect is ugly.
Yeah, and that's going to be like a centerpiece too, right? Which is kind of disappointing.
Looking.
Does it really matter if it's ugly or not, as long as it works?
Well, it's in the center of your living room.
Yeah.
My wife's picky about stuff like that.
Like your spouse, for example, Shawn, she's not a gamer, I take it?
And no, and she's really picky
ugly
about
having...
having...
thing in the living room, I can totally see that with you.
That's what I said, she's really picky about having ugly things in the living room, so quite often I get kicked out of the living room. She's not going to like Kinect at all.
Please.
Thought about it immediately as well. I kid.
Yeah, looks aside, looks are kind of, that's not really like the real focus here. Everybody's really up in arms by the fact that Microsoft didn't showcase a lot for games, and what they did show is going to be available on multiple consoles. So no clincher, nothing that's going, look at what we specifically are bringing you. Apart from, look, you can talk to your TV and change channels, right?
Isn't Quantum Break?
I think that wasn't that the only one that they showed?
What I found really neat about that is this another kind of Defiance thing? If they showed live action stuff, is that just trailer? Or is that them tying in a TV show of a game as well?
We don't know. There's too many unanswered questions on that.
Yeah. You know what, though? It really gave me the impression that might actually be the game, like part of the game where you're getting like this sort of, story acted out by like real actors sort of thing, and then thrown into the gaming itself. That was kind of a thought that crossed my mind.
We've done that with gaming before, though, and I don't think it's really been all that successful.
But has it been the quality of what they can do now? I think it's interesting. Whether or not, it's successful is a whole other story, obviously, but if that's what they're doing, I'm kind of interested.
I don't know if you remember this, Shawn, or anybody remembers this, but when I was a kid, when I was, 8 or 9, they had a Captain Power game.
Oh, God. The one Captain Power, where you had, like, the little ships that you could shoot at your TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that crap.
It was awesome. My dad and everything. I even had, like, the Captain Power, station where you could put Captain Power right on it, and it would power up and everything. It was awesome.
We are true long-time geeks. We should be so proud.
But look at that. That was kind of like almost a live action.
Yeah.
Back
pretty niche, though.
That was in the 80s.
Well, yeah, I guess we could be talking about Mad Dog McCready, too. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I said that on the Sega Genesis.
That game I wasted so much money on that game.
Oh, my God.
Xbox One, people. Xbox One.
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, it took me a while, personally, to gather my thoughts on it. As I posted on Game Canadian that as a family man now, I think it's ideal. There's a Blu-ray player into it. I can put the TV into it. When my in-laws come over to babysit the kids, it's all in one box, really. They can access Netflix. They can access the cable from it. They don't have to worry, what port do I switch it to? HDMI what? They always ask me, and I'll just go ask Trent. He's 7. He's almost 7. He knows how to use the TV better than he does. And I'll ask him, but it'd be nice if they didn't have to worry about all that stuff. And that kind of stuff appeals to me as a family guy. It's going to be good for my kids. My wife will enjoy it. When my family comes over to visit, it's kind of awesome.
I use the exact same things that you're saying to actually market it to my wife. Can I get it? And she's like, it sounds good. So I agree with you in that, the family side of things, it's definitely.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who don't have that set up. And I'm a prime example. My gaming's in my home theater. I sit.
Does it hurt? But does it hurt to have it, though? Even though you might not use it.
I sit 15 feet from where the console will be. Will the Kinect even go that far?
Yes.
I don't watch TV in my home theater. I don't Skype in my home theater. I don't PC. I don't surf the internet in my home theater. I watch movies on Blu-ray.
But
that's good.
You'll be able to do that.
But the casual gamer does.
But you have a lot of gamers who are going to be incorporating this into their home entertainment system. And not all of them have it in the living room.
Well, could you not look at it as just trying to appeal to the broadest of audiences, right? Not everybody's going to use every feature, but the feature is there should you want to use it. Were you really more disappointed that they just didn't? I know for me, I was just a lot more disappointed that they didn't just give us a little bit more of a taste of what they're going to offer for what it's known for, which is games.
No, I wasn't disappointed by that because we knew that it wasn't going to be. They talked about it being entertainment. But if you look at what they focused on, what did they focus on? TV, NFL, ESPN, movies. Really, how is that family entertainment?
Yeah, some of it I
7-year-old is going to sit there and watch his football fantasy pool? And another thing that I think people are forgetting, and I'm not discounting what they're doing, but people are forgetting these services aren't going to be available worldwide. So
they've already mentioned a lot of it's not available here.
And why am I paying the same thing for services I'm not getting? And I'm not the only one who thinks that. That's kind of the thought that I'm going for.
That's valid too, right? We're putting out that money for something like that we're obviously not going to be able to take advantage of in Canada. But they'll probably work on it, I would assume, with Canadian retailers.
That reveal created too much confusion and too much uncertainty.
Wait. Sorry, guys. Was subscription models discussed? No.
Nope.
No, I don't think they discussed subscription models at all.
From what I understand from the actual unit itself, it's that your cable box will connect into the unit. So I have my
cable box Wii U?
Right here.
Yes.
Like the Wii.
You'll actually, you'll run your cable to your Xbox One and then to your TV.
Okay. Think about it, guys. Who has a Wii U here? Have you? I have it, and I've hooked it up, and I've used that feature once.
I don't know if I've actually really used it at all.
I haven't hooked it up because it hasn't been in my living room until 3 hours.
So think about it. Are you going to be doing that on your Xbox One? What are we going to call it? Are you going to call it the Xbox? Are you going to call it the One? Or are you going to call it?
I'm just going to call it Xbox.
Xbox.
I know IGN folks are calling it the OG Xbox for the Xbox One. And
I like Xbone.
Xbone.
Moving forward, though, like that feature,
I mean, anybody else? I mean, I'm pretty sure does everybody have a Kinect hooked up currently to their Xbox at all, or no?
Yep.
Okay. Now, am I the only one who feels like an idiot talking to my TV? Like, yeah, that's a feature, but I feel really stupid sitting in my living room talking to my television. So I don't know if that's a feature I'll use.
We don't even know how we're going to be talking to our television. We don't even know how always on that Kinect's going to be. Again, there's so much uncertainty. And don't even get me started with the whole used game fiasco.
Oh, that is, you know what, that, I'm interested to find out the fact they even talked about that model of, or at least there's the speculation that it's basically if you're trying to trade in a game or get rid of a game, it's like a full price title still for the guy buying it. They would have to know that Sony is doing the same thing because if that's the model that only one of them chooses to take, it's a sink or swim. Whatever, if that's the thing the Xbox One does and Sony says, no, we're not doing that, Sony will win undoubtedly and Microsoft will sink because the used game market is huge. Whether they like to admit it or not, it's huge.
Well, it's funny. I was at a local brick and mortar today. You know who it is, Shawn. It's our local used game outlet.
Sure, Willow Games.
And I was talking to the owner, and we started talking about this whole thing. And, he raised such a valid point that I didn't even think about. He took Microsoft and the used sellers out of the equation and said the companies that are going to really feel the pinch are the developers. And the reason why, he used Call of Duty as an example. All these kids, all their money goes towards cell phones. Cell phones are very big, right, in terms of plans and data. Anyways, he's like, all these kids trade in their games on the next big game. Well, they're not going to have many next big games to trade in on because they're not going to be able to get that many in the first place because of this whole new model if they go with it. They'll be trading in all their games on the next Call of Duty, great. And for the first year, developers won't feel the pinch. But now because they have to pay that, they don't have that many games to trade anymore because the used model is different, those developers aren't going to sell all those games.
But doesn't this usher in digital gaming more so, like making more the Xbox like Steam? Look how cheap the games are on Steam.
Yeah, and there's no, I mean, you don't trade a game on Steam, obviously, right? I mean, it's yours.
But on the flip side, how much of the world, the globe as we know it, has access to the internet to do this kind of gaming and downloading?
Not only that, but do you not think that they're really alienating a market that, I mean, and I'm sure they've had to have thought about it, right? I mean, all of us, we're adults. I mean, I can afford, not all the time, but I can afford to go and say, hey, I'm going to spend $60. I'm going to buy this game. But a lot of the market is a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid who's spending his allowance money. His parents might not buy him that game. So they're definitely going to see, I mean, the exposure, everything. I mean, the kid will be, I've got this $60. I'm going to spend on one thing and then that's it. And that's what they play for the next 4 months. rather than, regurgitating and going through other games and maybe finding something else that they like. So it's a huge alienation, and I don't think it can do good things for them.
That's what when I was a kid. You buy a game, maybe like 2 or 3 times a month. Me and my buddies would go pitch in and rent a game for a weekend and play the crap out of it.
Heck yeah.
Jen, you trade in games a lot. What do you like? Where are you on all this, Jen?
No. I'm here. I'm
thinking.
Deep thinking.
No, I kind of thought about something else in regards to I was kind of thinking about something else, and I had heard about the Xbox One having to connect to the internet every day.
Yes.
Once a day or something is like...
Once a day.
Once every 24 hours.
Sorry to get off topic, but I was kind of pondering that.
Well, that's like Kirby said, right? People who don't have a connection.
That's what has to do with the games. It's authentic.
Yeah.
Authentication.
You know the word I'm trying to think. It's making sure that's your game.
Yeah, that could be an issue.
My parents don't have the internet. Or I think what about these people?
But are your parents going to own an Xbox One?
Quite possibly, they're gamers.
What?
They're one of the very, very few people out there who don't have the internet and are gamers. But
they're gamers who don't have the internet? They're capable of the internet though, right? They just choose not to?
Yeah, they just choose not to. So you're not able to play your games. So how does that work? You're not able to play your games offline then? You're not able to... What if you're moving? What if your cable goes out? Or what if you're moving into a new house? Or...
The rumors are that still you can play single player games. That's the whole, but there's been no... Like I said, this reveal has created so much uncertainty. It's amazing.
Yeah. Did you see
Sony
stocks, by the way? Did you see them go sky high after the press conference?
Well, I did see that, but I think the rumor about that too was that it also was the fact that they announced they were selling a bunch of their properties. And they were cutting a bunch of overhead that was helping them save money.
It just kind of happened to go hand in hand with reveal day, that's all. I kind of thought that too.
It's funny, and I was thinking about this today. A lot of people are kind of tagging Microsoft right now in a negative light because of the uncertainty. Sony's keeping quiet because they know they're riding the wave of no press versus negative press. But there's something that I think people are forgetting. At the end of the day, I think one of the guilty culprits of this, even where we're at now, about used games is the GameStop and the EBs. Because they charge so little for games in terms of when you trade them in, and then they turn around and sell them for so much. And
$5 off of new.
And they're so greedy, and they were all about making so much profit, that Microsoft and the developers and possibly Sony have sat back and said, we should be doing that. Look at that. Look how much money they're making.
So how would they make that model successful for themselves, right? I think, and I'm no businessman, hence why I work in as a public civil servant. But that being said, they focus so much on profits and they're so high. Could you imagine a world where if the game ratio cost to the game ratio trade-in price wasn't that profitable, but it still was just a bit, where would we be? Because GameStop and EB always talk about, look how much money we made this quarter. We had a record year. Well, of course you did, because the general consumer, and I hate to say this, and if I'm offending anybody, I'm sorry, they're so stupid to realize that $5 off, whoop-dee. That's why they always say, too, but do they not usually in their statement say that the used game market only makes up like 30% of their sales or something like that?
Maybe their sales, but not their profit.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I call BS on that too, except for maybe the fact that if I had a chance with I got a freshly wrapped one or $5 off one that's probably scratched, I might pay the extra $5. Is that the reason?
$5.
General consumer doesn't think that, and that's what they're relying on.
For sure.
So, think about the Willow video games that we deal with, they give a fair dollar value for their trades and their prices aren't marked up. Prime example, a Call of Duty Black Ops 2 used is $39 there.
Yeah.
It's $54.99 at EB Games. That's just ridiculous.
It's even funnier. Sometimes you'll find a used game even priced higher than a new game.
Yes.
I have encountered that.
Because they haven't bothered to actually go there and update it yet.
I think people need to literally give EB. I know EB and GameStop are in the money to make money. In the business to make money, sorry. But at the end of the day, I think they're just as guilty for where we're at in this whole scenario. And people need to kind of voice that.
Yeah, like the last time I bought a used game was about a month ago. Just because it was $30 for Dishonored, which isn't all that great of a game.
Disagree.
Yeah.
I love that game.
I didn't finish it, but it's still a good game.
I think, but I'm a bit of a geek for steampunk, so that kind of stuck me and pretty hard on that one.
It started to have the Gears of War effect on me. Kirby knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I can see that though, because I did experience that a bit myself. If you're speaking of motion sickness.
Yeah. I just found some of it really wonky with the camera stuff. I got probably about 5 hours in, and I'm like, I can't. I thought it may just be me being a wussy, but no.
Huh.
It's...
Well, hey, at least you only paid $30 for it then, right?
Yeah, I turned around and traded it to Microplay for $20. EB only wanted like $7 for it. I'm like, screw that.
There's EB again.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You gotta use the system. Like, in some cases I can go there and get really, really awesome deals. Then I'll go over to Microplay and I can probably get a better deal. You just gotta be aware. Not all consumers are like that. They need to be smarter. But we're talking about the used game market in general. And I've heard a couple things about how Xbox or Sony is going to do it. If they do this, I'm probably buying a PC because it would piss me off. Basically, from what I've heard, what's probably going to happen is I'll go off and I'll buy Assassin's Creed 4. I'll install it to my Xbox. It'll be there. There'll be like a little code sent off the internet saying, hey, I bought that game. That's mine. All right. So if I have that disc and I take it to GameStop and I trade it in, when that person buys that game and brings it home, installs it, they're going to pay a fee. Let's say that fee is $10 and they get the game and they bought it for $30. They'll save some money. But what happens when they pay that $10 to register that game to their console? Mine will be deactivated. I will no longer own Assassin's Creed 4 after I trade it in.
Like, so if you were to, I mean, I guess at this point we're saying that they killed the rental market, but if you were to get your hands on another copy, you'd have to re-register it and pay the registration fee again?
Okay, I think I kind of know where this rumor's coming from because I've been following Appy Geek the last 24 hours quite closely. Yeah. The big thing is that there's going to be, when you buy your game, and remember, this is all rumors, so we're just speaking from speculation. When you buy your game and you install it on your Xbox One, you authenticate it. You play it. You take it to a licensed Microsoft One used game store.
Oh my God.
EB Games or GameStop. Now, this is all just speculation. Now, because they're licensed to take in Xbox One games, they'll be running, I think, from what I read, it's Microsoft Azure. It's their software. And when you trade that game in and they scan it, I don't know how, but it picks up the ID of that particular game, goes into the cloud and says, look, Kirby has traded in this game. It's been identified on his Xbox One. He traded it in. It's no longer playable on his Xbox.
Ow.
So when somebody comes to buy that game used, there's now going to be a fee attached to that game. And that fee is going to be going towards Microsoft and the developers. So when that person buys it and installs it, it now becomes their property.
Like I say, so if you were to get your hands on, like, a friend had a copy and you're like, you know what, I want to give this another shot, you wouldn't be able to play that even though you've already owned the game.
Only under your friend's profile.
Oh my goodness.
Now remember, this is all speculation.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, should this be true? I mean, I know that this is an argument that's been going on forever, but I mean, to me, it's just horse crap. It's no different than, I mean, the argument that most people have used is like a used car lot, right? If I buy a used Ford, I don't have to call Ford and say, hey, here's $1,000. Can you give me the keys now? Like, all this is like, they're making, when you're selling a game for $60, $70, how can they not be making money? Do they really need to, to hit out at these people who don't have that kind of money to pay? It makes me angry. I really hope that's not the model
the
they're going for.
Making very little money. I know that much. When I used to work for Blockbuster and we get games from Ubi and EA and all that stuff, the profit margin's $2-3 at the most. It's really, really.
That's the retailer.
Yeah,
that's the retailer.
Yeah, the retailer makes peanuts on games. I don't understand why some stores sell them sometimes because it's so little, and that's why EB pushes their used market.
Well, I don't think it's fair. Why shouldn't I be able to send a game to Jen? Okay, one of our review games. Jen says, "Hey, I want to play that." Oh, no problem. I'll send it your way. But now she would have to pay a fee to play it, and technically it's one of our property.
Because it wasn't new. Yeah.
Well, like you say, I mean, at this point, it's all speculation. We haven't really heard too much about what Sony's going to do in that department. So, I mean, it'd be going to be interesting to follow along.
But
go ahead, Jen.
Isn't that kind of the same model as like a computer game, though? No? When you buy a PC game, you've got a key. It's only usable by you, so you can give it to a friend who can install it, but they still have to purchase a license for it.
Which brings us back to then, why don't I buy a PC rather than an Xbox One?
True enough, true.
I can hook up my Xbox controller to it now, right? So it's making me think more and more, I can, if instead of buying a PlayStation 4 or 360, the only thing that's going to sell me is those exclusives. Now,
I agree.
it's the only reason to buy it. But if I have a Windows PC, those exclusives, hopefully in theory, will be...
They won't though. But there's been talk about Microsoft not having much interest in porting their Xbox One games to PC, like making them Xbox One games only. And again, that's, in their benefit, because then they have those exclusive games just for the Xbox One.
My wife, personally, she's like, I want the Xbox. Forza looks awesome and all that stuff looks cool. And she's like, let's buy that. And I'm like, all right, I don't have a choice now because we had to choose one and she wants that one. So we're getting an Xbox if the cards fall right. But
so right now you're really hoping that they're going to pump out some pretty badass games because your decision's already been made.
Well, they say there's 15
exclusives,
8 new IPs, right? And 7 continuing ones. So between us, let's try to come up with the 7. Obviously there's Halo 4, probably Gears. I'm guessing Crackdown 3.
Forza.
Right, Forza, yeah, that's 4. Fable probably, that's 5.
Maybe an Alan Wake, you never know.
No, that doesn't make sense because Remedy's doing,
But they've talked about making an Alan Wake when the time is right.
Yeah, but they're saying within the next year, so, I mean, maybe it's, like say it's hush-hush in the time.
Well, Trevor had an interesting point. He's like, how many of those games are going to be Kinect?
Another Kinectimals or something, right?
Or Kinect Sports 3.
Yeah, that's true, right? I mean, all they did was give us a number and everyone goes, ooh.
To count. Some people are hoping for a Killer Instinct.
Yeah, there's been talk, but that would be a new, but we're not talking existing.
Yeah.
So wait. Did you guys just say that you've heard rumor of a new Killer Instinct?
Yeah, haven't you been reading the interwebs?
I have not seen that, and if so, I just totally got a nerd chubby because that's awesome. I love that game.
Well, supposedly the announcement was that Rare is going to be bringing back one of their storied franchises.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, I was automatically assuming like
a very
Banjo-Kazooie.
historic franchise, so it's not going to be Viva Pinata.
Do we consider Killer Instinct historic, though?
You know what? For whatever reason, I mean, at the time, it really did make an impact in the genre. People loved that game, so maybe so.
Favorite character, Shawn, from Killer Instinct?
Oh, geez, I don't even remember names. I always used the skeleton guy. That was always the one I used.
Guys, is it going to be Perfect Dark?
No, that's not historic.
It was a launch title for the 360.
Would it be historic?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, somebody...
It goes way back, though.
Okay, so we had Perfect Dark 0 at the the 360 launch, right?
Yeah.
What comes after 0?
Perfect Dark 1.
Oh.
Somebody actually pointed that out to me, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Viva Pinata sequel. That was a great little game.
They are great games, actually. The Viva Pinata ones are awesome.
And then if you think about it, Microsoft has a lot of stuff that they can pull on to put out exclusives.
At the end of the day, Microsoft studied the shit out of this. They looked at all the streaming that is happening on the 360, looked at all the apps that are being used. They wouldn't do this just for shits and giggles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're a cold calculating company. They're making this...
But on the flip side, they're now trying to go the way Sony said the PS3 was going to go. The PS3 was supposed to be the center of your living room. How did that turn out?
It's in my kid's room, so he has a DVD player to his TV right now.
Exactly. That's my... I'm not saying they're going to fail. I think because of the uncertainty, I want more concreteness to make me go, yeah, that's exactly it. I have faith in Microsoft because I love my 360, but I'm just a little nervous because I'm still not sure of everything they're doing. But we have lots of time until that console launches, but yet I want to put a pre-order down to make sure I get one, if I want one.
I'm pre-ordering both just for when I make that decision because you can always reverse it, right, and put it towards something else.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think I might take the same route as John. I'll probably pre-order both, make up my mind, and I mean...
No, you'll buy both. I need you to review the PS4 games.
Yeah. You want to lend me $500? I think they're going to be about that. Or no. How about you give me $500, Kirby?
Not until I see more write-ups.
Speaking of price, what do you think is going to be too much?
$4.99 is going to be too much, personally.
I agree.
Hear that eBay in Germany or something, or Amazon or something in Germany,
$800.
Yeah, it had 500 and something British pounds for an Xbox One, I think it was. So what does that translate to?
Lots.
That's a lot of money. How much, Kirby?
Lots.
Yeah, lots. It translates to lots.
That's how I know, lots.
The technology, though, for the most part, hasn't really improved. The jump from the original Xbox to the 360 was huge, but the 360 and the PS3 to the next-gen consoles, it's significant, but it's not as huge as a gap as the other ones were, right?
I don't know. It's 3 cores versus 8 cores. You know, I think my biggest concern too is that the Xbox One's going to be running 3 operating systems at once.
That's just marketing. It's going to be one operating system.
No, it won't. Not when you're snapping and doing all that stuff.
I don't buy into it that it's 3 operating systems. It's a Windows kernel. It's going to be Windows doing multiple things.
But that's going to take processing, and until we find out how the processing gods at Microsoft are doing this, there's a lot of speculation, how is it going to hit the processors?
The choice of RAM, they use DDR3, then there's GDDR3. Yes, the 8 gigs will be faster in just pure horsepower in the PS4, but I'm told the other RAM is quicker at that switching stuff.
It's better at multitasking.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. There's all the speculation of which one has more power, but in the long run, the power itself doesn't matter as so much as how they utilize it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where we can debate about it all day, but we're not going to know until we get hands on and see how they run.
Yeah, exactly.
Side by sides maybe or whatever. But I mean, what are you going to get out of a side by side? You can hardly tell the difference sometimes between a PS3 and an Xbox 360 now. I mean, we're talking, such high def that are we really going to notice it? We're probably arguing semantics, really going, is it going to matter?
Yeah, we can go on for this a while.
Exactly.
Bottom line, we're all decided we need to wait for E3 to hopefully give us a little bit better light on what the heck are we going to do as gamers.
Killer app.
It really does come down to what they're going to offer for their exclusives. Because the systems are so close in horsepower and specs, and they're running the same chipsets in terms of the AMD and custom processor, it really comes down to the games, and you can have a lot of multi-platform games, so what are the exclusives going to be?
What are system sellers for each of you? Go!
For me, it's Forza. Right now, for me, it's Forza and Halo. It's just, I know it's
Halo.
It sounds kind of typical, but, it is. That's why I play the 360. For those games. Gears, I'm kind of tired of right now.
For me, it would be a Fable, but better than Fable 3, because that one didn't really hook me.
I don't know. Honestly, I
want to see Borderlands 3 exclusive to the Xbox One.
That'd be awesome. I doubt that's going to happen.
But I want it.
I don't personally have a system seller. If they were to secure up Assassin's Creed 4, that's not going to happen. But something like that, where it's just a series I'm in love with. Like, I like Halo, but you can get a first-person shooter on the other systems. If I was really, really, really in the car games, I'd be going for Forza. Like, my wife loves Forza, so we're probably a little bit leaning for that because it's a multi-purpose console for us. But until I see some of this new stuff, I would really like an awesome RPG. I mean, there hasn't really been a great RPG in a while, in my opinion. But it makes you go, oh wow, did you play that game? Like most of those for me are from, like the 90s. Or that one, and now it's all recycled garbage, just Final Fantasy every couple of years. We need new stuff.
Well, in 13 days, we'll know exactly some of these exclusives.
Yeah, I mean, and Victor Lucas, he actually kind of put an interesting tweet up right after the whole reveal thing saying that we should be prepared to get our minds blown. So he probably saw something. Maybe he knows something we don't know at this point, which sounds about right.
Well, he was down at the Judges Week, right? So
yeah. So, but he's expecting. He basically made it known because say the internet went haywire. He made it known that don't write off the one just yet. We're going to see something that people are going to go, oh man, now I need that machine.
Well, how about we meet back up after E3? And we will find out what we all think.
Do it.
Yeah, and make sure to follow our accounts. Follow Shawn, Kirby, Trevor, and myself. Who's all going to the press conference?
We all are.
We all are. So make sure to follow our Twitter feed because we'll be live tweeting from the event as well.
Jen's going to teach me how to link up my phone, Twitter, and to get it.
Texting.
Texting.
Yep. I know a cheap way to tweet from text. So.
I heart you.
Hey, what now? Tweet from text?
Yeah, you can actually. Yeah, you can not use your data and
so you get an unlimited texting plan, and there you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I did with.
I was gonna look at. I looked at something where it's like $2 a day for data and phone when you travel, sort of thing, through like companies down there. So definitely have to explore options. Yeah, like $2 or $3.
Is your phone unlocked though?
No, I guess that might be an issue.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
son of a.
Now, what's the Wi-Fi like too?
Oh, it's the hotels can be not bad, but at E3 in the media center, oh yeah, good luck.
Okay.
Good luck getting it.
Good luck even staying on a connection. Even at the press conferences, it can be tough.
Yeah, so that's why.
Follow
We'll
us
have-
anyways. Follow.
Yeah.
Followers. We want followers. We're desperate for followers.
No,
Follow
we're
me.
not desperate. We just would like.
No, me personally.
I'm not responsible for any E3 drunk tweets.
Ha! Those are the best kind.
The Twitter account they're speaking of, though, is Game Canadian, but you can always find them personally. They'll list off their Twitter accounts for you right now. Go!
I'm Kirby_Y.
I'm at Jen Dingle, JenDingle.
And I'm at Call Me Shawn P. SHAWN.
And the podcast itself has its own at the COG Arcade, and always go to CanadianOnlineGamers.com, GameCanadian.com, and find us on Facebook. And